You guys asked for it, and that is an Avalanche update. Today we're going to give you some insights that may take Avalanche to the moon, and I'm not kidding. There are a lot of breakdowns in this that you do not want to miss. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Let's just get started today on this one. I want to go right to a John Woo tweet. But John is and he's been on our show many times. He's the president of Avax. Increasing the success of loyalty programs is something that's been around for a little bit, and it's called TYB. We'll get to all of what that is in a second. But it's showing how brands and celebrities can really leverage tokenized rewards. And this is something that any brand will be able to do. He expects this space to grow 100X, and I agree with him with that. I want to go over to TYB, and this is Paris Hilton, one of the keys that have started. Now, granted, if you look at this and you zoom in on that, you'll see only about 1,000 members, but this one is first just getting started. One item that, of course, Paris Hilton has done, claim your Sliving Society collectible. So you've got collectibles. There's a token that's related to this. If you can kind of see the token, the more tokens you unlock, the better the rewards and events get. Further into this, you can get into things around challenges. These will be all sorts of things where celebrities start to, benefit this up, much like loyalty programs that you see in retail operations. And then collect and redeem tokens. Right there they are. Your engagement pays off. Coins you earn from completing challenges and making purchases can now be redeemed for discounts on their website. So that is all beneficial. And if you look further into this is a tweet right here by Paris Hilton, where she's actually in there communicating with her fans inside the platform, which is huge because it starts to integrate this level of loyalty that John Woo and I have talked about many times, is that this may be the killer app for Avalanche and, of course, for blockchain. Others that are playing within this space, of course, is Scarlett Jo. And she's got a whole community that is, if you look at hers right now, she's got about 10,000 members. But same kind of scenario. You can claim your Hydration Hero collectible. Right there's the challenges that you can earn. The token right there, which is the Outset token. All right, so don't think that this is just, a makeup brand that says, hey, let's put Scarlett Jo's face on it. No, these are their brands, which is something that we've talked about many times before. I'll explain this in a second, but I want to show you this clip of Scarlett and how she's kind of integrating this into her own brand. Take a look.
I can't even tell you how excited I am to be on Amazon. I am such an Amazon shopper. I don't know what I did before Amazon. Do you? All of our products will be shoppable at the carousel so you guys can have the ease of shopping on Amazon.
Scarlett showed me a few of her favorites.
So this is our whole line here. This is our blue clay mask, which I'm obsessed with this mask.
She's such an entrepreneur.
She's such an entrepreneur, and you see her as this movie star, but then I saw her in the office. Like, she's really in it. She's very invested in it.
You're giving, this is the gift I'm getting?
This is the gift I'm giving you, yes. So this is a limited edition headband. Are you ready to put it on?
No. What?
All right, so they're having fun with this. I think this goes back to the whole celebrity move to bigger brands. I mean, if you look at Ryan Reynolds, Ben Affleck, you could go down the list of companies and brands that have kind of connected together. But now I think what we're dealing with is the opportunity for these celebrities to do the startup brands so much faster and integrate loyalty, blockchain, and of course what will eventually be value to their users and their customers. This is the CEO of TYB talking about it. Take a look.
Because I joined the Outset community a couple weeks ago, and if I'm remembering correctly, if you do a certain number of things and get a certain number of rewards, you can actually join like a live with Scarlett where she teaches you about the brand and like why she started it, like, or at least people my age don't understand, is like these are the passion projects of some of the world's like most influential people. They want to be giving back to these communities, I think, in a different way than the way that they think about their social platforms.
It's cool because Scarlett's not on social. So she doesn't have her own account on an Instagram, but she does on TYB. And so access to Scarlett is kind of one of the main perks. The goal with TYB was help brands have a measurable own channel where they can show the business impact of this growing and powerful community.
Can it be like a food brand? How do you think about sort of the ideal customer that should be finding you and using TYB?
Like the pattern that's most struck me is it's definitely a youthful Gen Z customer or community member that wants to engage in this way. That's probably the number one kind of pattern so far. That's going to take some time to get there, but I think in the next 5 years, the next Nike, for example, will be founded, funded, and run in an ecosystem like TYB.
And she's right. This is where you would be able to connect with Scarlett Johansson. She's not on social in other ways. we may see a potential here where celebrities start to detach from that and then channel through brands, which could create an absolute massive integration into loyalty. And this could apply to movies and things of that nature down the road, especially around some of these celebrities. But also, she also touched a little bit on food brands, restaurants, all sorts of companies that will eventually be able to go this direction. All of this is trending to what I've been talking about for quite some time, and that is loyalty. Here's Selena Gomez, same thing. She's got a little bit more members on it, same kind of scenario. You can join the wait list for her. And then, of course, if you want to look at the brands in general that are involved, it's not just, even though there are a lot of beauty brands on here, but if you scan way down on this, you'll see fashion in here, lifestyle and wellness communities, and then I think next up is food and beverage. So that's a good example of how all this plays together. And again, these are individual companies that are inside TYB as the platform that creates this tokenization around loyalty that plugs into the brand. Boom, you've got Avalanche right there in the center of it. Now, if you look at the size of the markets, because this is beauty and personal care, which is a lot of people who have never been in Web3 before, and they're starting to look at this as an opportunity. And of course, the global size of the market right now, this is 2023, around 374 billion. By 2032, it's going to over double, it looks like. So 758 billion by 2032. This is significant in terms of the opportunity of where this could be going. Further into this kind of gives you another level of how these things can be used with Avalanche. Avalanche, of course, is now partnered in with Pressman Film. Now, this is a production company. All right, so this is the Platform Republic. We've shown this before. So it's basically a Kickstarter for all sorts of companies, including independent filmmakers. So you are able to go in and invest in the production of these films. And you can kind of see this is the Form C of the SEC. So this is, of course, a regulated platform for this. You get your bonus perks, etc. So it's very similar to what you see on Kickstarter around some of these product launches. All right, so one of the things that is different than Kickstarter with this one, let me zoom in on this right here. After a 12-month holding period, investors may also have the option to trade their shares on a secondary market, similar to stocks. You can basically make money before it's even shot. You can trade this after. All of that is available inside it. What I would suggest that you do is, if you're even considering some of these, go take a look at each one of these. It'll break down some of the investment opportunities all the way down into following the release of the film itself. So that's a very big move forward around, again, a platform that is driven on Avalanche. Republic also gets into investment opportunities that are other than just film. I mean, there's a lot more involved. There's Pressman Film there, but you've got fantasy sports betting in there. You can kind of see just a lot of different companies, very similar to what Kickstarter is doing. The market size on this is pretty big. I mean, look at this thing, 8 billion right now in total projects. Now, granted, this has been over a decade, but if you look at the size of Avalanche right now, right there, their market cap currently setting at around 8 billion. This is just the beginning, and I think John Woo is exactly right. 100X does not surprise me. That may be an underscore of what this really could do. Those investments, whether it was the movie companies, the sports entertainment, all those will have a token that will essentially live on Avalanche. There's a lot within this. This is what they call the LTO, the litigation token offering, or the ILO, I should say, the initial litigation offering. And it goes through a whole list of what you're going to be able to do. But the key here is, for most Republic offerings, investors will be required to provide an Avalanche wallet address. The other thing that is kind of interesting in this is it will be cross-chain. So Ethereum, Algorand, Avalanche, and of course Polygon, with more chains to come. Again, all this writing in on the purpose of where Avalanche is going. All right, so coming up soon is their event in South America. So we'll see what probably will be a huge announcement of Avalanche 9000, which essentially is going to be the key that unlocks the expansive world of purpose-built blockchains. So mainly making it easier to come onto these L1s and into these testnets as a starter. And I think this, of course, will only make it simpler and cheaper for Avalanche. If you just take a look at their L1s, growing slowly, but coming along just nicely. Other things that are happening right here, if you just look at Gunzilla, remember Gunzilla, an Avalanche game, powered by Avalanche Rails. It just launched. And this really is not a game that's totally available. And look at the total number of transactions, almost 21 million right there. Then you look at some of the test nets are in here. This one test net, we don't know who it is, but Jono Perf L1 Look at the transactions that they're already generating here, 500,000 transactions. So who knows where this could really go as we see real use case start to apply into the Avalanche ecosystem. All right, so, but that's not necessarily it. Everything we've talked about pre of this probably is underscoring what this right here is. And this is talking about their code-based demo day. Some pretty big moves here because this is where we start to see the potential of prediction markets. And remember, we know what's going on with Polymarket. This is a good example. Polymarket explosion. Remember the first one we saw around everything from politics, the Olympics. Eventually we'll see more probably within the sports angle, which will most likely maybe even 10x this where we're going now with the NFL football season beginning here this weekend. And of course, the problem with Polymarket is kind of highlighted right here. No one wants Polygon liquidity. It's a desktop use case only. Social sign-in, higher liquidity, Solon-based better out there. And mobile, that's a problem. It's not available. So those are some of the disadvantages. When you look at Inertia, this is the platform that will essentially be on Avalanche that will provide a Polygon type experience, but in a way that will be utilized in mobile. So we could see an explosion around what's going to happen in the predictive markets, again, on the chain Avalanche. So a lot really kind of brewing here with Avalanche. I want to go into an explanation for Inertia and why this could be a huge winner. Take a look.
And we're not the first people to come up with prediction markets. And so what our platform does is it asks people, what do you want to predict? And it lets them do it.
And users typically go through way too many hoops and complex onboarding processes, churning before they even place their first trade. Now, our take is that market creators do our best user acquisition for us.
And so what ends up happening is they become part of this dynamic where they choose what and when something is interesting. The more attention that they get, the more liquidity comes to actually participate in these markets.
Here we can see a friend who was browsing Twitter and they see something interesting. Microsoft is potentially planning to buy Valve for $16 billion. They send us their group chat and all of a sudden all of their friends start bantering about what they think is actually going to happen. And then another friend quickly spins up a market on Inertia and pops a link into the group chat. Now, when a user clicks on our link, they're taken through a very easy onboarding process. They simply SSO in with Google, Discord, Twitter, whatever. We do all the dirty work from the background and they get an embedded wallet. But now, to even trade on the market, obviously they need cryptocurrency. So we made this process simple as well. They can just put down a credit card or Apple Pay and immediately on-ramp, and they won't even know it's Web3, which they can just literally input into text boxes and we'll create a smart contract for them in the back end, and they can share this market publicly, earn revenue, or privately with their friends, all without touching a single line of code.
I must say, like, super compelling, but I'm like, huh? Because I'm not part of this community. How would you onboard those? Or is that even the market? I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, who are your target audience for this product?
Okay. If we look at social cultures, streamers, all this sort of media, we can see people, bantering about what they think is going to happen. For example, my girlfriend was actually going through Instagram and she was literally seeing people bantering in the comments about, okay, will, this person get left at the altar for Love is Blind? Or people will actually argue on Twitter about Dancing with the Stars and stuff. And I mean, Dancing with the Stars even has its own poll system, which is why we kind of adopted the more user-generated approach. And yeah, that's how we're planning to actually scale a little bit beyond the initial community.
That's a good example of an investor who's not necessarily in the Web3 community, and they're tied into what Inertia is trying to understand to do. And this starts to get into subcultures. It will get into sports, all sorts of things that we've never seen in these predictive markets. This could be so huge when you just look at the betting markets alone and then start to layer in the amount of cultural integration, social integration, easy access, single sign-on with the ability to download the app, and then tie this into networks. And remember, he talked about in the early part of that video is the ability to drive liquidity based on demand on a particular topic. So this gets into pulses that are very sentiment oriented, very interesting technology. This was the winner of Codebase. So huge opportunity, I think, within the Avalanche ecosystem to really take predictive markets maybe to the next level. So is Avalanche and the transactions and the amount of things they could impact 100x? Yeah, I think we are at that phase right now. So John Woo was right. Avalanche could be setting right now in this space to grow 100x. All right, if you guys are not part of the Diamond Circle, get in right now because these are kind of the deep dives that we do here on the show. And you can get this nowhere else. There is not one other channel out there that does this kind of work. kudos to our team for, of course, doing all the research. And of course, if you're not following me on X, make sure and do that. It's at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.